Hello and good morning. Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out and check out the new episode of Breakfast with Boom. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL, and I am here today with Silent Cypher and Fuzzy Belvedere, who just showed up. Let me get him in without cutting off his head. There you go, Fuzzy. Welcome back.
There we
So,
go.
listen, everyone, we have a couple of big topics to get into. One is kind of going to be a continuation of what happened earlier this week, but with some additional context that has ecstasies and even Tom Warren very concerned about PC Game Pass, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to break down that story, and this could be, and again, folks, it is a rumor, more salt to the wound for Xbox, a potential another self-inflicted wound. And again, as of this morning, there has been no conversation from the brass. I have not heard anything or seen anything myself from Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, Matt Booty, or even Aaron Greenberg. I have seen it's been radio silence for the Xbox bigs, and for good reason. Obviously, everyone is angry. And again, folks, I just want this to be clear before we get into the introductions and we start talking about the two big topics. This isn't a witching party. This isn't or a witch hunt, I should say. I don't have behind me, the torches and pitchforks. I understand that for some, there is value here. And for me personally, as many games as I play out of the service, yes, it is still valuable. That's not the point, though. And I know there are people that have DM'd me, who have messaged me. There are people in the chat right now that are, they're not yelling. They're like, hey, boom, it's valuable because this is what games are going to cost at some point. I listen, folks, I do this 5 days a week and I technically work on the show 7 days a week. You have no idea how I understand. But from a consumer's point of view, like I've been saying, it's bad optics. So before I get into a very interesting thought and theory, I want to welcome in Silent Cypher. What's going on, brother? How you doing? Welcome back.
Good morning. Great to be with you guys. It's been a couple weeks, but yeah, it's should be an interesting conversation. I see everyone already blowing up in the chat, so good to see some familiar faces. Fuzzy, great to be hanging out with you as well, sir. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the conversation. It's going to get spicy, I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure some people are going to get in their feels somewhere because someone always does. But yeah, let's get into it.
Here's the thing. I am not going to lead by emotion. I like to consider myself a leader in the Xbox community, one that is and promotes positivity, right? I like I said, I like getting pointed because I'm trying to drive home a point without being reckless about it, without saying, without using curse words, without being that emotional gamer. And I think I do a pretty good job with that, to be honest with you. And I don't really toot my own horn very often, but this is one of those conversations where I know there's going to be some folks in the chat, Fuzzy, that are tired of hearing about it because it's negative and it's negative news. But it's not negative propaganda that we're trying to push here. We're trying to have a conversation that we hope somebody in the bigs are listening to. They're not going to listen to the people who drop 6 F bombs in one sentence. That's not how you get their attention. How you get their attention is by talking about it the way we're going to talk about it today. And again, we do have some additional information that is concerning. And it's concerning because some of the people that I lean on for information, like the Tom Warrens, the Tom Hendersons, the Jez Cordons, and the Ecstasies of the world, are concerned. And if they're concerned, then I'm concerned. And I'm hoping that if I'm concerned, you're going to have to, you're going to want to hear about our concern. But Fuzzy, good morning, kind sir. How you feeling?
Sorry about the mute. I'm feeling great. Glad to be here with you guys. Yeah, this has been one of those rake stepping weeks, I guess you could say. But all in all, for me, it's not a direct effect only because I stacked Game Pass, which I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
we'll get into. And no, I was not gloating on the internet. It was just more of a sigh of relief and more so to encourage those to kind of pick up those Game Pass cards while they can at the lower prices and stuff. and stack as much as you can. But yeah, we're going to have a good conversation about this whole ordeal, and some of the stuff that's still coming down the road that we're looking forward to, whether it's the Call of Duty beta, Outer Worlds 2 coming out here soon. I know for some of those that are Ghost of Tsushima fans, Ghost of Yotai dropped yesterday, so there's a lot of good gaming stuff still going on. We just got to kind of talk through this, and it's not going to work out for everybody. Some people may have to downgrade, but yeah, we'll discuss all those options.
So I did an experiment, ladies and gentlemen, right before we went live. And I did something that I enjoy doing, and I asked AI a very specific question. So let me get into my notes, which I don't normally do on my phone, folks. You know how I feel about that. But I asked Google specifically, if a company raises their streaming service by 50%, how will customers react? Right? That's what I asked. And why I like asking AI human-based questions like that is because you're going to get a very straightforward robotic answer with no emotion attached to it. You're usually going to get information that is straight and to the point. So I want to read some factors here that goes to show you where Microsoft as a corporation and Xbox as a platform might actually find themselves in a bit of hot water. So when I asked that question, the first thing that came up is this. A 50% price increase for a streaming service would likely lead to a significant number of customer cancellations, as customers are sensitive to what they call streamflation, or the rising cost of subscriptions. However, the exact response depends on several factors, including the service's perceived value content and the competitive landscape that it's in. So here is a small piece of information that kind of goes in line with why the website for canceling your Xbox Game Pass is still down. Right, still down since it launched because it's being slammed. Well, let me just read some more bullet points here, folks. Factors influencing customer responses. This is what it has to say. Price elasticity and churn. A 50% hike is a large increase that would test the price elasticity of demand for streaming services. Surveys have shown that smaller 20% increases would cause more than half of subscribers to either cancel or downgrade their plans. The potential for churn at the rate at which customers cancel would be significant, as evidenced by the massive subscriber backlash and calls for boycotts that followed a recent 50% hike for a gaming service. Who are they referring to? You know what? I don't know. Is it someone an X maybe? Well, that's the response, folks. Now, let me just read a little bit more because I don't want it to be one-sided. I want it to be an open-ended conversation. It says perceived value and content for customers. The decision to stay or leave comes down to the perceived value. Exclusive content, a strong library of exclusive high-demand original programming gives a service more pricing power and makes some subscribers less likely to churn. Content fatigue. If customers feel that there is a lack of fresh, engaging content, they will be less willing to pay a higher price. Many streaming services have seen an increase in churn as subscribers weigh the cost against the value of the content being provided. And lastly, there are two additional bullet points. Let me read those, and we're going to, open this up to conversation. The competitive environment. The growing number of streaming options means that customers may have many substitutes to choose from. And lastly, subscription fatigue. The average household has multiple streaming services, and the rising cost is leading many customers to cut back. Now, gentlemen, I love to bring into the conversation Destin Legary. I like Destin a lot. I enjoyed how he conducted himself while he was at IGN. I didn't always agree with him. He has done some things in the past that got him in, a bit of hot water with the Xbox community specifically. And then was it last year or the year before, he decided that he was going to go out on his own, which was um, a balls of steel moment for him. Going out on your own, leaving a job like IGN that pays you a salary to talk about video games, and your insurance, your health insurance, not just for yourself but for Destin's family, was as risky as I think I've ever seen in a long time, considering, ladies and gentlemen, the world that we currently live in. So, of course, when he went independent, I immediately jumped onto his Patreon, and I have been a supporter ever since because I like the content he puts out. Well, he's been keeping his finger on the pulse of Xbox gaming for quite a while. And one of the things I appreciate about Destin Legary is his human side. Like, he's a very transparent man. He talks about his family, talks about his wife, his kids, his business. And I'm not saying that we're identical, but you know me already. I'm Mr. Transparent. I walk around, I'm as clear as glass. I don't hide anything. I am who you thought I was. There's no surprises. Well, he put out a tweet yesterday that I thought was pretty good. I want to read it, and I want to use it as a part of the conversation that we're about to have. He goes on to say this, ladies and gentlemen. It turns out my ultimate tier of Game Pass had lapsed 2 months ago. As a busy dad with limited game time, $360 a year it just doesn't make sense right now. Will be sad to see it go. I also dropped PlayStation Plus a while back, so this isn't really unique to Xbox. I just don't console game as much. I'm always on PC these days, and I'm a penny pincher in parentheses. If I ever need the service, I just turn it on for a month at the lowest tier these days. It is what it is. I'm cheap, and the value proposition just isn't really there for me personally. If I want a game, I'll just buy it or subscribe for a month as needed. TLDR, $30 a month is simply too much. Now, granted, is anybody in the chat going to agree with Destin? That's entirely up to you. And again, for a lot of new listeners, we're going to have some here that are going to see this title. They're going to look at it. They're going to be like, oh, hey, I got to go check this out. Well, you're not going to get that here. The burning Game Pass logo is... well, that's really what it is. The Game Pass is burning right now. Xbox is burning. It's on fire. Is it going to burn down to the ground? I don't think so. But it's just bad news all around. I'm sorry. It just is. Am I going to be overly dramatic or emotional? I'm not. Listen, folks, I like being clear with you folks. And I talk about this all the time. I just re-upped the day of the announcement, and I had no idea the announcement was coming. I simply told you my plan. My plan is when I get down to 33 months, I buy a 3-month card, and I bring back up to 36 months, which is the most you can have. I do that for peace of mind. I do that because I'm a retiree, and as much as I can afford to pay $30 a month, I don't want to. And you shouldn't if you are a good consumer. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not going to look Xbox in the face and be like, yes, $30, give it to me. Don't worry about the Vaseline. It's good. I'm good. Right? Pause. Right? You don't do that as a consumer. You try to get the best deal. I mean, look at Hargeet, for instance, who I absolutely adore. He's an incredible human being, very generous man. And he has enough Game Pass to 2030. We are in 2025 still. He has Game Pass paid up at less than $16 a month until the cows come home, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you consumer. That's how you win. So it's, look, you know what? Let me. This is going to be one of those open-ended conversations because you heard a little bit of what Fuzzy had to say because he was nice enough to jump on the breaking news special. And of course, this is the first time that we're hearing, from Silent Cypher. So of course, I want to get his, original take, his thoughts, and because we've had some time to sit on it a little bit, I want the chat heavily involved. You know, again, your opinions matter to me, and I hope our opinions are going to matter to you. But one of the things that brought us right back to this conversation is something that I had put into the chat for us. Now, this comes the way of ecstasies. Now, ecstasies for you personally, once again, your mileage is going to vary. I've told you this before, and I'll say it again. I know him personally. We talk on a regular basis. He's been on the show a few times. I mean, I can't fly out to Spain to hang out with the guy in his house. I don't know him like that, but I know him enough to believe that he has connections that are valuable. He has opinions that are even more valuable. And when he does talk, if you followed him as long as I have, he doesn't recklessly throw things out there for hoping that he's going to steal some subs from someone else. He's not that type of content creator. Now, if you don't think so and you think otherwise, I'm not going to fight with you folks. Think how you want to think. But he put out a tweet, and I want to read it verbatim. And it says, I don't like anything I just read in Tom Warren's notepad today. Now, if you don't know who Tom Warren is, well, Tom Warren is a journalist. He's a really good one. Writes for The Verge, and has a paid for or paywalled news feed like a lot of the bigs do. Like, again, I talk about me being a fan of like Daniel RPK, for instance. He's a tradesman for all the MCU news. He has a paywall, Patreon thing that a lot of people pay for. Now, I don't pay for it because, again, it's just extra stuff I just really can't afford to pay for. I can't keep adding because the paychecks, the pension isn't going up anytime soon. The cost of living, the COLA increase that we get every couple of years ain't cutting the mustard. So I'm not going to be adding streaming service after streaming service, and then, of course, be paying for other people's Patreons. I support a lot of people behind the scenes. I can't support everyone. But the Tom Warren's notepad is exactly that. If you are a Patreon, you get a chance to get the information before he writes it and drops it on The Verge. And of course, he's a businessman. He's trying to make money. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, this is what Tom Warren had to say in this notepad. It says, I have the feeling that it won't be long before there are more changes to PC Game Pass. Microsoft didn't mention the PC Game Pass price increase in its blog this week. It seems inevitable that over time it will remove, check this out, folks, the day one games to PC Game Pass, just as it did with console subscribers last year. Now, I'm going to tell you this. The old price for PC Game Pass, which gets you everything that Ultimate gets you, except having to pay for online, because you don't pay for online with your PC. You just don't. So it was originally $11.99. It is now $16.50, which is still the best deal of all Game Pass, because if you are someone like Hargeet Chani, and I use him, specifically, he doesn't care about playing on PC because he is rocking a $5,000 rig. He has the best of the best of the best. He can afford to do that. Awesome for him, right? He talks about playing on his 5090 all the time. For console people like myself, who I have the money, folks, I can go out and buy a 5090 pre-built right now. I don't want to do that. I just really don't. I like consoles. I don't care about being a pauper or a commoner. I'll be the console commoner. It's okay. But let's bring in Silent Cypher. Let's get your original thoughts on this, because again, when you just, and again, I'm trying to simplify it, folks, as just bring it down to its bare knuckles. Bring it down to the studs, if you will. If you're a construction guy or gal, you know what I'm talking about. This is one of the worst rake stepping moments, in my personal opinion, since Donnie D's 2013 F up. I think it's as bad. And I think it's as bad because messaging about being the greatest and best place to play and play anywhere and play with your friends and the most affordable service, or all of the things that they've been telling us for the last year or so, have been completely washed away by an increase that could have easily been as much as $5. If you really needed to increase the price, $5 would have gotten some pushback, would have gotten some smoke, because no consumer is going to be like, "Yep, give it to me. I'm good. I'm ready." But again, it's not the $10 that is as bad as when you go out and report Game Pass has been raised by 50%. That is how it's being reported. That is how it's being perceived. Now, again, I want this to be clear. If you're in the chat and $10 is meaningless to you, I want to give you a pat on the ass. Congratulations. But I don't want you to run ragged with that and be like, listen, if you are unaffected by price, I am going to always root for you. I'm going to congratulate you. What I do not like is when you only think of yourself. Don't be a selfish human. There's enough of that going on in the world. Let's stop for a second and say, I'm good with the $10. And I'm good with it because I'm paid up until, I thought it was the 3rd. It's actually October 5th, 2028. So I'm good. But that does not remove the fact that this price increase is wrong. Silent Cypher, let's get your thoughts, man.
Yeah. Where to start on this thing, really? So I guess I'll cover it the same way, like what Hargeet was mentioning, right? So as a consumer in this situation, it's always best for us. Like it's just like when we buy games, right? Is on a regular basis, a lot of us end up buying the games on a dip. They see it on a sale. We buy it where we can, save a few bucks. I mean, realistically anymore, most of the games that we see, if you wait for a couple weeks, if you don't fall into FOMO, you can usually get 10 to 15 bucks off of it pretty quick within a month or two, just depending on what deals are going on. And it's the same thing with Game Pass is if you keep a close eye out on some of the key locations, you've got stuff like CD Keys. I don't know if Green Man Gaming's still a thing. Even Amazon and Best Buy still have some of the cheaper prices right now from the previous times. But, it's like I was talking to Tim in the chat about is, saving up, like finding it and buying it on the dip when you find deals on Game Pass is the consumer, like the strategic consumer thing to do, right? It's a smart consumer thing to do. I get that not everyone can buy and have a mountain of codes like Hargeet. I get that. Like not everyone's going to be able to back those codes up till 2030. Not everyone's in that.
Yes, he's definitely a conundrum.
Yeah, so like I props to him because not everyone can pull that. I think right now I'm still sitting at about 2 years that I've got paid out for Game Pass, and I just bought on the dip whenever I saw good deals for it. If you do that, if you look around and you do a little research before you just re-up on your subscription, you can usually see it about 16 to 20 bucks on a regular monthly cost. And so you can save yourself here and there, which now that we know about the increase, here and there is not actually that small. Like 10 to 15 bucks is actually pretty good savings if you can pull it off. But that's kind of where I'm at, is I've just been saving up here and there, buying on the dip whenever I can, and just kind of saving it back. So, you go back to what you were talking about. It's like, it's not just about me. I'm in a situation where it's like, cool, I'll just keep stacking it and I'll buy on the deal because they can kiss my grits if they think that I'm going to pay them full price. But again, that's being a smart consumer, is just not taking what they give you exactly. Like not just saying, yeah, 30 bucks, that sounds great. Like do your research, look around. It's not difficult to find a deal on Game Pass on a regular basis. Now, I'm sure as the prices go up, it will be harder. It'll be more scarce. I know a couple people were saying that some of the CD Keys ones were already starting to sell out right after this happened, because everyone was like, screw that. I want to I want to get the good deals on it. So, it might take a second, but again, keep in mind what time we're at in the year. We're almost to Black Friday. You're going to start seeing a handful of different deals come out. So just keep your eyes open. You'll have plenty of opportunities where you can bump it up and you can get it down to that 18 to 20 bucks or whatever a month total, like what you've been paying. Again, it just requires you to kind of look around, It's not a big deal, and it's not like back in the days of people pirating stuff. Like, you're not going through this illegal means to get these things. Like, they just have deals, and it happens, and just keep an eye out for them, and you'll get plenty. As far as the price, yeah, if you look at it and you break down what's in there for the $30, yeah, you could say, okay, it's worth the $30. For someone like me, I look at the stuff like the Fortnite and some of these other things they added, like the Ubisoft classics.
Yeah.
For that, I'm not interested. So I think the thing about this from start to finish is just like Microsoft likes to do. They do not market or advertise these things well. They do not explain themselves well. And so, you have this poor lady, God bless her heart, coming out, and they had her do that 2 or 3 minute video
Terrible.
of the breakdown,
Yeah,
right?
terrible. Feel bad for her. Yeah.
I feel extremely bad for that lady because she was literally handed a gold painted turd and was told, like, hey, sell this. It's the greatest thing. And she's like, but it's a turd. And they're like, well, yeah, but sell it anyways because it's
But it's
fine.
gold.
Yeah. At
It's
the
gold
end of the
painted.
day, yeah, at the end of the day, like, a polished turd is still a turd. The way that they did this, the delivery of it was crap. And let's be honest about it. There will be some people that will gain some value out of what was added. But if you look at a lot of the folks that have been on here, a lot of us already have most of the stuff that Ubisoft Classics offers, right? Because again, we buy on the deals, so we get stuff when it's cheap. Ubisoft games do not hold their price retention. So I can almost guarantee that the majority of us here in this chat have most of what they're offering in Ubisoft Classic. So that's just not a really good deal for me. Had they put in Ubisoft Plus, sure, like that would make it more understandable for
That
me.
would have been a different conversation. I literally,
Yeah.
Silent Cypher, said that the other day because for someone like me, I pay for it per month,
Mhm.
and it's
Yes,
19 and
you'd save
change.
the $10.
Yes.
Yeah, so like it works to wash itself out if it were Ubisoft Plus. Unfortunately, that wasn't what they gave us.
Right.
That would have been convenient. It would have been a win, I would say, in many ways, for people with multiple subscriptions. Um, but going back to another thing that Hargeet did mention, I think it was a day or two ago. He mentioned the fact that cloud is implemented in the majority of these, with the exception of, I think, the PC version. So this is another one of those things, right? Like, they're pushing cloud, they want to get that out there. So I think the way he phrased it is like Papa Sacha was flipping the bill for cloud previously, and now he's passing that cost on to you. So, you look at it, and the majority of them have cloud. And so eventually they were going to charge us for cloud somehow, some way. And it looks like that's maybe part of it. They didn't come right out and say that. And instead of saying, like, this is the reason why the price is going up, they tried to add stuff like Ubisoft Classic and the Fortnite stuff to be like, but don't worry, we've got lots of value. Is like, I don't see value in those additions that you added, but like, neither here nor there. I'm sure someone cares about those additions. Um, for me, I'm not going to use a large majority of what's offered there. I think it's really cool that they tout that it's going to be supposedly 75 plus games in a year. Like, that's a cool thing. I
Yeah,
think that's
sure.
cool. The Fortnite crew stuff, I don't care about at all. Like, I'll go in and I'll play that game here and there, but I'm not interested in the Fortnite crew pass. Again, Ubisoft Plus Classics, like, cool, but I would argue most of us probably already have all of it. And it seems like there's been a lot of tinkering around with the rewards system in the back end,
Yep.
which they said that you can earn up to like $100 in a given year by using it. And I feel like that's actually less than what you could do previously. So
Yeah, Fuzzy shaking his head. Fuzzy, that's Mr. Points
yeah,
over this. He knows.
yeah. So like, you're cutting back on it, but then you're saying, again, polished turd theory, right? Like, oh, hey, but don't worry, you can get up to $100. Like, dude, I'm pretty sure we could get more than that previously. So, like, don't don't sell it to me and make it sound like it's this consumer friendly deal when we know it's BS. We've been here long enough. The majority of us have been in this ecosystem long enough that the majority of these things just don't really interest most of us. But you look at what's the reasoning as to why they're trying to target some of these things. Well, Fortnite is a games as a service, and we know that they've wanted to catch on to the Fortnite lightning in a bottle, right? Like they wanted to get that and collect it. And so if they get this, like maybe it motivates someone to buy more stuff through Fortnite. It motivates them to keep it higher up on like the games played concurrent. Who knows? Kind of seems like they're trying to focus on some of those like Call of Duty and Fortnite. Now, RSJ just mentioned in the chat earlier that apparently, based off of, I think, a Charlie Intel post on Twitter, he announced or confirmed that the discounts in Call of Duty, like on the pass and stuff,
I got it right here. Yes,
just got
talk
removed.
about it, brother. Yeah.
Yeah. So that again, one of those things, like you're taking these things away and you're like, but this is a consumer friendly thing. In your eyes, maybe, sure. But the thing that it comes down to for me, I'll stop rambling here in a second.
No, please. This is a conversational podcast, brother. Talk away. It's good.
The thing that this deal lands for me as is this doesn't come off as someone or as coming from someone who is a gamer, who understands the market, who understands what we're interested in as gamers in general. This comes off very emotionless, very soulless, very, very market driven, right? So when I see this deal, all I can think is like Satya had a brain trust idea where he thought he was going to do something amazing. He's like, hey, team, we're going to change this because this feels like a Satya idea to me. This doesn't feel like someone who games. This sounds like someone who lives in rarefied air and doesn't understand how normal gamers work, how normal people work. So he probably pitched this out and was like, hey, you're going to push this. And again, that poor girl had to come walking out with a giant turd on her plate and be like, here you go, guys. But it's great because it's gold.
Yeah.
No, this is not how you do it. Again, like for me personally, I'm going to continue to do what I've always done, which is I will shop on the dip. I will continue to get my subscription upgraded, and I'll keep it a 2 to 3 year max, and I'll just keep it capped out. I'm not going to pay them $30 because I don't see the value in what they're offering for the $30. I think 20, yes, 20 is a good spot. I'll take that. That is acceptable to me. Another thing that I did hear some people talking about, shout out to New Legal. I don't know if you've talked to him lately, but I jumped into his show real quick last night just to listen and see what they were talking about. And one of the things he floated was the idea that they've hit the $30 price point, right? So they're going to cut it off there. That's the last price increase we're going to see for a while. I don't think that's how this works at all.
Nope.
I gotta give props to Legal for because he tried to put some good like logic into it.
Oh, he's a good creator. That guy. He's a good content creator. I like New Legal a lot. He's a good dude.
Like he was trying to explain it and justify why he thought that was the case. But my thing is like, so his thought was instead of doing like incremental increases, $2 to $3 here and there,
just hit you in the pocket. Boom, go.
Just hit you on that one, and then you've got a long time before the next up one. I don't see that.
Nope.
I especially given the market, given the climate that we're in right now financially, I don't see that. $30, I don't think is going to be the permanent fixture for the next couple of years. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it go inch up to like $34.99 within a year or two. I think again, it's a financial greed thing. They're like, well, we're going to add these other things, and it sounds good to us. They don't recognize that it doesn't sound great to the majority of the consumers. Now, you can vote with your wallet. You can change your subscription. You can do all those different things. Hopefully, at some point, they'll get the message. I don't know, though. The person who made this decision, again, doesn't seem like someone who breathes the same air as us or lives the same day as us.
No,
they don't
that's for
understand that this decision wasn't really what we wanted. They're not going to reverse the pricing. Yeah, exactly. Rayoid is like, they're not going to reverse the pricing. If anything, we'll see it increase again. And that's why I say buy on the dip. Don't give them the $30. If it isn't a value to you, there's easy ways to find around that. There's no point in paying them for stuff that you don't see as a value. If you decide to take a break from the service for a little bit, like, everyone's got to do what they got to do. They got to make up their own minds and determine what is a value to them and what they want to do. Now, again, $360 over a year, right? Like, you look at that and you break it down to how many games that actually ends up being in a given year. So you're talking what, like 6 games at like a $60 price point? So even less with the new inflated $70 and $80 price points. It's not a lot of games that covers the cost of a year of Game Pass. So yes, it's still financially not a bad deal if you're buying a lot of the stuff that's there. And I would argue that a lot of the stuff that comes out nowadays is going into Game Pass. So there is money to still save. But again, be a savvy consumer, buy it on the cheap, and save yourself a little extra scratch. Like, just because it's that many games worth for the year doesn't mean you shouldn't get a deal on it. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've talked on about it enough, but just moral of the story, buy on the dip and vote with your wallet. If it's something that's not a value for it, then show them that.
Well, look, I'll say this. As Silent Cypher has just mentioned, we are in the holiday part of the year, right? And some holidays bigger than others, and of course, for each person, it's going to be different. Halloween is massive for Fuzzy and Cypher. We celebrate it as well. We decorate our door, we decorate our table, we have fun with it. But the holidays that I'm referring to is, of course, like, your Kwanzaa, Christmas, Hanukkah, where you're giving gifts or you're receiving gifts. And we know that one of the biggest shopping days in the world, at least here in the States, is Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and there's a few other ones that they have added. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger because they want to sell you the wares. Most of the online retailers allow you to pay for things using something like Affirm, for instance, which I've used many times, right? If you are someone that wants to remain Game Pass, a Game Pass subscriber, a customer, I would tell you that it is in your best interest to make sure that you never pay Microsoft $30 a month ever. And I am going to go out of my way to make sure that I don't pay them $30. I will never pay Microsoft $30 a month for Game Pass, even though, because I use it as much as I do, it is valuable for me. There is value there. But as a consumer, I refuse to pay $30 a month. And if you are someone that is like me and trying to find the best deal that gives you 3 years worth of Game Pass, where you don't have to worry about it, you simply just play your games and go, right? Go on Black Friday, find yourself a year or 2 years of Game Pass, and instead of taking that out of your bank account, which is going to hurt a lot of people in the pockets, because right now everyone's trying to figure out how they're going to pay for Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, right? How are we going to give your loved one the gifts? Do a 12-month Affirm thing. Pay $13 a month. $23 a month for 12 months. So yeah, it's going to be a $200 investment, but it's not going to hurt you in the pocket where it's coming right out of the bank. I mean, there are ways to do it, and there are services like formerly CD Keys. It's now called Loaded. There's Aniba. There's a bunch of other ones that you can go to and go find the deals. If you are someone that has a card for Target, and you can save 5% even on the cards. So go and buy they're still $20 a month. Go get it for $20 a month. Buy minus 5%, and you're not paying the $90 because eventually there are going to be $90 cards on those racks for 3 months of Game Pass, which is just crazy to think about. There are ways. Please continue, Silent Cypher.
No. So one of the things I keep seeing in the chat, and like I get it. If you don't agree with my take on it, that's fine. I totally get it. Again, everyone's gonna do what is most beneficial to them. I see a lot of people that are trying to play the, oh well, this guy's a broke boy type of thing, or like, oh, $10 a month, oh God forbid. Like, dude, that's fine. But again, it's not a matter of the $10. It's a matter of, am I using what you're adding to it for that extra $10?
Yeah.
I personally don't see value in the Ubisoft Classic stuff, and I don't see value in the Fortnite stuff. I haven't played Fortnite for a couple of years now. So for me, it's not worth that extra $10 a month. Can I afford it? Sure. That's not the question, though. It's a question of, is it a value? And when I look at it at the moment, that's not a value to me. So as a savvy consumer, just like what Boom was mentioning just now, I will find it when it's on discount, and I will not pay them for that extra $10. Why? Because again, it's not a value for me. Could I afford it? Sure. Could I go just buy the games full price? Sure, that's fine. But again, it's about being a savvy consumer, and it's about determining what's a value to you.
No, great point. So listen, I just want to, before I hand over the microphone to poor Fuzzy Velvet, has been sitting back and just waiting to pounce. I want to bring up that tweet, and this is more salt in the wound, folks. So Charlie Intel, who I like a lot, I've been following Charlie Intel for quite some time, and now being in like super into Call of Duty, I love it because they always get the hot information. Well, here's what Silent Cypher was talking about, and shout out to Ray Oid in the chat who actually brought this up. So Ray, thanks so much for being here, brother. I super appreciate it. What Ray Oid was talking about was this tweet from Charlie Intel 12 hours ago, folks. I didn't even see this. I literally just found it in my feed. Xbox has removed the 10% discount that Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members could get for the add-on content for Call of Duty, including removing the discount on Call of Duty points and Black Cell as part of the changes to Game Pass this week. Again, folks, this story just continues to get worse. It's just worse every other hour. And this is why the bigs have gone into the bunker, and you're probably not going to hear from them at least for a week. And ultimately, I understand why, but I think it's a bad message. I think someone that has met and spoken to Phil, Sarah. I haven't had a chance to meet Matt Booty, but I've spoken to Aaron 100 times. Aaron's a great dude. I wish they were out in front of this. I really do. I don't know what they could say. I mean, what ultimately anyone is wanting is a reverse engines moment, like they did with Xbox Live Gold when they tried to charge $240 a year and everyone revolted. I was hoping that we would get at least some sort of a, hey, listen, we've heard you. We're working on trying to make it more affordable. And, when we have more information, we'll come back to that. Maybe they raise it $2 instead of 10. Maybe they raise it $3 instead of 10. Maybe even $5 instead of 10. And at $5, I still think it's egregious, but at least we're listening. Fuzzy, before I hand you over the microphone, Silent Cypher had made mention about a podcast trying to break down that this is the one-shot moment for Xbox, meaning that they were going to hit you with this $10 increase or a 50% increase and be like, okay, we're going to pump the brakes for the next 5 years. Why I have concern, you folks, you're going to be like, hey, Boom, you kind of said it already, but I got to say it again, just based on what Silent Cypher said. I said during the primetime episode with Hargeet and Keasante, I said, let's just stop and forecast 2026, right? So they increased the value, they increased the price of Xbox Game Pass in 2025, and they had a bombastic year, 12 games. By the time this year is done, they'll have put out 12 first-party games, and I will say that it's probably the best year in Game Pass history. That is arguably there's not even a question. And I say, let's forecast 2026, ladies and gentlemen. You have 6 games, 6 first-party AAA bombs right off the bat. Here's Forza Halo, all new games, AAA bombs, right? You have Fable. You have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 in November, and you're probably going to have Clockwork Revolution. Those are 6 AAA bombs. And I said, what's to say that October 1st of next year, right before all of the bigs come out, whether that be Fable, whether that be Forza Horizon 6, Modern Warfare 4, whatever they say for the last couple of months of the year, that they don't say, okay, we are now raising Game Pass to $39.99 because you're getting all this value. Look at all these games. Look at all these games you got. Right? Who's to say? That's my one concern, is if they did a 50% increase in a snap of a fingers with no warning, the entire community was broadside by this thing. And it was done in the most ugliest of way. And again, I have to go right back to what Silent Cypher said about this poor woman that got out there for 3 minutes and 45 seconds, and they threw her to the wolves. The wolves. They really did. That was as good as Romper Room time, that video. In fact, it actually pissed me off even more watching it. And it's not her fault. This was her job. They sent her out. They literally sent her out to get slaughtered. Shame on Xbox for that, man. That video should have been done by Sarah or Phil or somebody. One of the bigs should have been in front of that camera, not this poor woman. Fuzzy, let's get your thoughts on some of the recent happenings. Any additional thoughts of overall, because you've had some time to sit on it. I know you were on with Mav the other night, and you had some really good thoughts. Let's get your opinions.
All right. So I'm going to explain my approach with Game Pass over the past 6 or 7 years or so, or whenever it came out in 2017. As someone that's worked in retail, I know they're going to pay full price. Like, if I can find a way to get a discount, even funny story, I worked at Best Buy for the holiday because I remember what the discount used to be for employees years ago when my wife worked there. I did it for the holidays. Come to find out, the margins are nowhere near what they used to be. Back in the day, Sony used to be like 50% off of what the retail was. That's what the employees could get the Sony products for. Well, because of the race to the bottom as far as Samsung and a lot of like the TCL TVs and things, margins are between 5 and 15% on a lot of that stuff, or at least that's what they give their employees. So the discount wasn't all that great, but I still wound up saving a good amount, just working that holiday stint, because I was looking to replace all the TVs in the house at one sitting. But I say all that to say, I'm probably part of the problem of why they're doing this adjustment on pricing. Like, since day one of Game Pass, I got it free with my Xbox One X. And I think I paid them, as far as from a monthly standpoint, $1.09 or something, because I kept on adding like the free week or whatever, or 7 days that you would get with certain games or certain controllers. And then I realized that they started having it where you could use Microsoft Rewards points. Well, I make it a morning routine when I drink my coffee and have my, my breakfast and stuff like that, to go and do the searches, start up Forza Horizon 5 for a bit, play it for like 15 minutes, play solitaire on the computer while I'm doing some searches and answering quizzes and stuff. So I've been earning Microsoft Rewards points to the point where I think I've earned somewhere around 3 million points from 2017-ish up to now, and have pretty much redeemed 2 million of them. Now, I did that because, like I said, I don't like paying full price. And when I had the boys on Game Pass as well, one I could game share with, but since they're twins and they each had their own Xbox, I still had to pay for at least one subscription. So if I could get a couple extra cards, hand him the card so he could also be on, online for free and so forth. And then when we got their computers, it was like, well, they played more on their computer than on their Series S's. So switched it over to PC Game Pass to kind of save some money and save some points and stuff. So I'm probably part of the problem, because I think in total I bought 3 cards from Target once when they were at a deep discount. And that's all the money I've given them. I've given them a lot of my time because, as some people will say, time is money. So I spent a lot of time getting those Microsoft rewards points. But in the end of the day, that doesn't, fill their coffers. So if I'm, to be the blame, so be it. But I encourage everybody, even though you can't use Microsoft rewards points directly for Game Pass, you can use it towards gift cards. And as a few people have made mention, places like Sam's Club and stuff have had gift cards where get $100 for $80. So you basically get $20 for free if you're going to spend money with Xbox anyway. I always encourage looking for those deals, whether it's, I know nobody wants to ask for Game Pass for Christmas as far as gift cards, but things along those lines. Like if you find a sale on them, it's probably worth picking up to add to it. And much like Boomin said earlier, I used to keep it where it was always 36 months. And like as of July, I kind of laxed. I had enough points up until October, but I should have known better because they had that revenue thing that they talked about with Game Pass, making $5 billion and it's profitable. And then there was an announcement that there was going to be a sale on things in the Microsoft Rewards store. And they've had that on occasion where that's a lot of times where I'll cash in my points and get even more of a break because I think it was like 28,000 points as opposed to 36,000 points for 3 months. So I was like, well, maybe I'll wait and see if I can go ahead and get 2 things in 3 months and just, add the one and then sit on another one or something along those lines. But I should have known that they were going to do some sort of shenanigans as far as adjusting the points amounts that it requires to redeem, that you will need to redeem, as well as pulling Game Pass. And they started seeming a little sketchy with pausing some of the search timing and stuff like that in September, or maybe it was like around August time. So I've been watching and waiting to see when something like this would happen, but as you've heard me say before, Microsoft Rewards points, it was the way to go. And that's what really took care of all of my Game Pass subscription all the way up to July of 28. So I hope if you can still stack, buy the cards at 20 or buy the cards at, just below 60 and, pile those up if you can. I understand that's not feasible for everyone, but if you can do so, otherwise, deal with either the 30 or, maybe scale down. Like if the day ones aren't as much of a draw, but you play a lot of the other games that they add, because, being a grazer, as far as, playing a lot of the stuff that they add in there, whether it's some of the indies or, maybe it's a few months later after a big release of a game that you were on the fence on getting day one, and now it's in the service. I think that might be the way to go. Yeah, nobody likes to downgrade. You if you've been living with a Cadillac, you don't want to pick up a Chevy Volt or Cavalier or something later in life. But at some points, you have to adjust to what you're comfortable with. And if you're comfortable with the 30, more power to you. I'm kind of comfortable with the 30, but I'd rather not spend the 30 if I can use points, and that's what I'll continue to do. When it gets to the point where I can no longer earn enough points to satisfy the subscription to the extent that I have or have done over the years, then I'll make adjustments accordingly. And some of that might wind up being the merging of playing more stuff or buying more stuff on Steam, which I've kind of done ever since I got my Steam Deck. So it's like I have a blend of access to these PC games that now, with the way they're doing their full screen Windows / Xbox mode on the handhelds, your saves are like before you used to have to know what folders the save files were in. Now Microsoft makes it easier on these PC handhelds to be able to kind of merge them. So if you have a game on Steam and it's in Game Pass and you have more progress on Game Pass, you can transfer it over to your Steam one or vice versa. So they are making things more homogenous, I guess you could say, to some extent, which doesn't bode well for them. Which the big thing I've been thinking of, and I don't know if it's they have a knack for bad timing. The thing to me is with them recently announcing or having the pre-orders and being able to release this Xbox Ally, I think this was the worst timed move, because what would have been better, at least in my opinion, and yes, I know I'm not a CEO of a $1 trillion company, but to me, if you have this device, and while it's not your own device, it is marketing your brand, go ahead and let that go out there in the wild. Keep PC Game Pass the same price for a while, and then let the rumors start swirling about, well, maybe day and date goes away, but watch people stack and jump into the service. Like, if you dogpile into the service, you're getting more people into the door, which that's the main thing that they want. And even if they're getting a discount, you'd rather have the numbers as opposed to people canceling and having fewer numbers to rely on as far as recurring revenue and stuff. But to me, this is ill-timed. Let the Xbox Ally go out there. I know pricing wasn't quite what we had expected. There's a lot of other factors out there. Some of it greed, some of it tariffs, some of it a mix of both. But all in all, they could have probably, especially after the $5 billion announcement as far as profitability, they could have probably waited a month or two, get more people in the door, say, hey, there might be some changes in in the first of the year, and let everybody get the stuff, before the holidays or during the holidays, get it under the tree, stack up the service as best they can, which will, really, boost that quarter for them during the holidays, which most companies love. And then when they hit them with the, the higher, price, that will be only for the new guys that didn't take part in, stacking their subscription. Because nothing works better than this rush to demand. Like, the one thing I have learned from retail and automotive and stuff like that, when it's the last one on the shelf, or beat the prices, like the same thing with the going away of the electric tax break on vehicles. Oh, it ends in September. A lot of people rushed and got cars in July and August. Like, if you were on the fence on getting that electric car, and you hear that the things end in September, you're more than likely going to take that extra step to go ahead and get that vehicle before you run out on the rebates that you would be entitled to otherwise. So something along those lines would have probably been a better fit, but I understand why they did it. Business is business. They did take a $4 hit per share. I know some people are speculating, oh, that'll make Satya, no, $4 is nothing, especially, and I hate to say this, I think they're about $40 to $50 inflated as far as their price, but then that's the market in general. I don't think we're going to get a bubble pop anytime soon, but $4 is while it's nothing to sneeze at, it's not enough for them to be in panic mode. Now, if it was a $40 drop, then there would be a different story. But I don't think, even if everybody under the sun on Xbox canceled their subscription and sold their devices, I don't think that would affect it $40 a share. That's just the percentage of what Xbox is to the rest of Microsoft. So it is what it is. But for those that can continue to, subscribe to Game Pass, more power to you. Continue doing so. Get as many discounts as you can. Save your money where you can. Spend your money how you want. I'm not going to be the one to tell you how to spend your money, but I will give you pointers on how to save money if I can. But outside of that, I can understand people being upset. I mean, I'm sort of upset at the point that this feels like it's just pure greed at this moment. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's other things that are factoring in the background. Like, this would make more sense if games went to the full $80 and $90. Like, if $80 and $90 games was a norm, maybe this increase wouldn't seem so bad. If more people were, I'll put it this way. If it was Ubisoft Plus Premium as opposed to Classics, I don't know if as many people would complain. Yeah, like for me, most of the classic stuff I already own. Ubisoft Premium would have been a little bit of a different story, because then that would have made more sense, and I'd be saving $10 in comparison to buying it separately. But
yeah,
I don't know. To each their own as far as what they see value in. I still see some value in it, especially if you look at $70. That's 5 games or so. If games go to 80, that's like 4 games at that point, kind of deal. So unless you're buying like some of the smaller titles, if you're buying more than 10 games a year, mix of AAA and AA and stuff, there's still some value to be had in this service at the ultimate tier. And there's value in the lower tiers as well, especially considering cloud. But I don't know. I'm comfortable with it for now, but I don't believe that this is their final stop as far as pricing. I wish we could get something like that in writing, but I know how business is and things change, on the regular. So a $4 or $5 bump in a year or two could be possible. I do want to point out something that somebody may mention in the chat, and it has me kind of wondering as well. They did make mention of 75 day and date games, which we did get a lot of day and date games between first party and even some third party titles this year. I haven't counted, but I don't think it was anywhere near 75.
No.
So I'm wondering what next year's Game Pass looks like, if they're talking about a full 75 day and dates. Are we going to get more third party support from some of the bigger players in the industry? Like, I'm not saying we get, GTA 5 or GTA 6 or anything like that, but maybe we get something along the lines of Mafia, New Country, or something along those lines. But we'll have to see. But in the meantime, vote with your wallet and enjoy what you enjoy. Play as many games. Enjoy this hobby for what it is. But this was not the best time for Xbox. I think a rake step is definitely what they did, and hopefully that lady's in witness protection, because I'm pretty sure there's some fans out there that might be looking to settle a score or something. So we'll see how it goes.
Just side note on that too, because I saw some folks, like I was talking to someone in the chat, and they're like, I'm sure she'll be okay. It's like, yeah, she'll totally be okay.
Yeah.
Like, we're joking a little bit with this, but it's like
a bit facetious, to be honest.
I'm sure the two of you, much like myself, if you're ever in sales, you end up running into a situation where you're told to tell someone something that you disagree with, or that is a bold-faced lie. And my thought is, like, all I'm saying is, it sucks in any time or situation when you are told by your company that is funding you, paying your paychecks, you're going to say this, even if it's BS, like it's just a blatant lie. It sucks. Like, it sucks to do. Even if you're getting paid to do it, it still sucks. And it makes you think, like, well, maybe there's a different job I should get to. Like, it just, customer service is not fun in general, but then being told to just suck it up and tell someone, like, toe the company line is not fun.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's fine. I mean, listen, folks, again, I see people in the chat, no names, because you're everyone's entitled to their opinion. If it's not that big of a deal to you, that is okay. If you have it like that, great. If you think that it's still valuable because you're like me and you'll play 50 games that drop into Game Pass, it's worth it. There's no denying it. But again, we just have to look at the big picture. If they are willing to do a 50% increase and broadside the entire Xbox community on a manic Wednesday, who's to say they don't do that again next year? When does it stop? Right? It stops when the company loses money. Someone just said in the chat, and I'm not going to repeat what they said, but they said that their stock is up 350. Awesome for Microsoft, but also their stock, meaning Microsoft stock. Xbox is a part of the cog. They're a cog in the ginormous machine. They're not the only thing making money for Xbox. I mean, for Microsoft. Xbox used to be the redheaded stepchild, the little brother, the stepbrother. Don't worry about him. He's just going to come along with us. Now they're making now they're sitting at the big table because they're making a lot of money. Again, I always like to think about the people outside of myself. If you don't give a shit about anyone but yourself, that's on you, man. That's not how I roll. I think about the other people. And that's why we're still having this conversation, because it's not going to go away, and it shouldn't. It shouldn't go away. If you don't want to listen to the shows, don't get me wrong, we're not going to talk about this until the cows come home. It's eventually we're going to get back to talking about games, which we're about to do next. But I'm sorry, folks. I'm not going to roll over and play dead. I have a responsibility as a voice in the community to get out here and let Microsoft know that this is wrong. And I'm going to do it in the most politically correct way possible, which is what we've done here so far. It's what I've done ever since the announcement on Wednesday. But you know, I mean, listen, again, you don't have to listen to the show. If you find this conversation to be boring, I hear you. But it's a conversation that needs to happen because it's ever changing. We just got that the 10% discount was removed. Does that not piss you off? Well, it does for me because I play Call of Duty and I buy a lot of skins and I buy a lot of points. So you know who that affects? Me. So I have every right to say what I'm going to say. But you know, again, we will certainly see. Let me catch up on super chats. We have a lot of them once again, and then we're going to get into this story that comes the way of Rebs Gaming. Rebs Gaming is Mr. Halo. I've been talking with him behind the scenes, and we're going to have him on a couple of shows in October as we get closer to the Halo Championships. And again, I'm not really excited because I love Halo multiplayer, but I'm not an esports guy. What I'm excited for are the multiple announcements for Halo games that they're going to show us what formerly called 343 Studios, which they're now Halo Studios, has been cooking. And we got some additional information on the basically confirmed Halo Combat Evolved remake, who's working on it, and it's some big news, folks. But let me catch up on super chats, and we will get to that story and then get everyone out of here so you can enjoy your Friday afternoon. Now, here we go. The first member chat of the day is Iman Burns, who's been a channel member for 40 months. So, Iman, thank you so much for that. He says, what's the crack, Boom? Just a thought. The Xbox price hike is because of cloud gaming. Yeah, basically that's been confirmed. It is because of cloud. And if you listen to the video that I put out yesterday, where you know it breaks down what Hargeet said from Primetime Gaming, it does confirm that it is because of cloud gaming that it went up $10. He says, and people getting Game Pass Ultimate through Microsoft Rewards. Does this make sense? I mean, it makes sense if you can save $1 or $2. You know what I'm saying? If you are someone that's getting your Game Pass through the points, like for instance, Fuzzy Belvedere is a perfect example of that. Silent Cypher, perfect example of that. They go out of their way, they do their dailies, they rack up points. Some people are getting 400 points. I've actually seen people say, "Boom, I get 1,000 points a day." I'm like, holy, really? How the hell do you do that? I'm walking away with like 400 points, and I'm like, champion of justice, because I'm sitting right now at 204,000 points. That's what I currently have. It used to be high. I used to have as much as 350,000, and then ReFantasio came out. I got the $100 edition for free. I was like, you know what? I cashed in 90,000 points. I cashed in another 15,000 points for something else, and I'm like, okay, stop the clock. I don't want to lower my points. I want to keep it up there. So I just keep building, and I'm good for like a $100 gift card. Does I think 90,000 points, if I'm not mistaken. And I have 204, so I have enough for at least 200 and some change. So I'm gonna hold on to it. But again, folks, if save however you can save. I'm telling you right now, I will say this to Phil's face. You are never getting $30 out of me, brother. I will never pay you the full $30. I will go and do everything. My due diligence as a consumer is going to be like Captain America. You're not stopping me. I'm sorry. I am going to make sure I never pay $30. And that's what good consumers should do. LMNOPO, one of the winners from last week's Boom's Birthday Bash. Great to see you here, brother. He drops a very generous $5 super chat. He says, happy Friday. Finished the excellent Shinobi. Oh my God, I got to get back to it. I'm almost at the end of Aliens Rogue Incursion. Wow. Folks, I know I've already talked about it to death. Please, horror fans, buy this game. It's $30. It's so good. Yes, it was a VR game. Is it the greatest graphics? The graphics are very passable. It doesn't look terrible at all. It doesn't look like a schmear on your screen. It's really good, and it's scary. It is honestly when you put on the headphones and you get out the tracker, you will see how scary this game is, especially when you're listening in the headphones and you hear those things hissing, and you know, just look up and the way that they do it is they have like they come at you from every angle. You got to use your flashlight. I'm walking like this, like, and I have a shotty. I'm good. 2 shotties and those things are down, but they attack you in groups. So good. I cannot recommend it anymore. Sorry for my rant. The cheese is nasty. Oh, hold on. He says, ready to take on Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. I'm going Team Tier 2 for Game Pass. I mean, I hear you, brother. I mean, listen, if day and date isn't your thing, right? If you don't suffer from FOMO, then the $15 tier is good. The only question mark that I have, and I don't like the wording, it's you'll get the game within a year. Is that actually in the same year? Is that 6 months, 3 months, 9 months? They got to be a little bit more specific on what the first day and date games are and when you can get those. And I do think that it is a bit of a drop off from $15 to $30. It's such a big leap that I think it could have been 25. I mean, I think if it's 25, it's maybe we're still raging a little bit because it's $5, but it's not 10. If it's Ubisoft Plus and Classics, maybe not as much because I pay $20 a month for Ubisoft Plus, and you're getting everything day and date like Game Pass. Maybe that would have been better. The messaging of this thing is just messed up. We have Cheese is nasty. What's going on, brother? Great to see you here, Cheese. Thank you so much for the very generous $5 super chat. He says, I do reverse engineering viruses. I make 6-figure salary and I live he lives on 100 acres of land. I'm still not paying $30 for Game Pass. Brother, I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Just because you have the money, you should not smile and say, yeah, I'll pay. What? No, man, that's how you keep money in the pockets. You go around, you reverse engineer, and you try to get the most for the less. I'm sorry. If you want to call me a cheapskate, look, folks.
How the majority of the very rich and wealthy people in this country manage to get to where they're at.
Indeed,
they save
sir.
their money. They
Yes.
find deals where they can. And yes, a lot of people will start to donate, obviously, at a certain point in their life. But yeah, how do you think these people get up there? They're not spending on every single thing that they want every 2 seconds. They're buying what they need. They're finding deals where they can.
Yep. Listen, that I still go to Walmart to do my food shopping, folks, because you save a lot of money going to Walmart. I mean, I do for local groceries, sure, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Mrs. Boom and I, when the house is like it needs stuff. Like, you know what? Instead of going to Stop and Shop or ShopRite, which is down the block, which I'm going to go to after the show, we're going to go up to Walmart. We're going to make a day out of it. We have some fun shopping. I stop at a few places. We have lunch. We make a day out of it. But we go do our food shopping at Walmart, Super Walmart, because why? You're saving bucks. You're saving bucks, and I get points on my Walmart card. I know it sounds crazy, but yep, that's how you got to do it if you're retired. And Fuzzy knows that because he's retired also. You got to stretch out the bucks. The cola increases, folks. They don't come as often as advertised. Trust me when I tell you. Jax82 drops a very generous $10 super chat. He says, as bad as the price change sucks, try to save money by stacking Game Pass. I'm someone who has never stacked when Game Pass started at $19.99 when it started. $19.99 is when I started stacking, and it saved me money. Best decision I made. Yeah, brother, I'm right there with you. If you can, look for the deals, especially as we're getting into the holiday. They may drop them. I can't guarantee they will, but check out Aniba. Check out, I think you said something man, Silent Cypher. I don't know who that is.
Green Man Gaming. Like
Green
I
Man
said,
Gaming.
I'm not sure if that one's still around anymore.
Yeah. And obviously CD Keys, formerly CD Keys, it's now called Loaded is what it's called. Look at me, the broke boy. I like that, Will. He says, did I miss something regarding PC Game Pass changes? Is it really even a rumor? Sounds like Tom Warren didn't actually talk to anyone, just his thoughts. And this is coming after a very generous $5 super chat. Listen, I don't subscribe to his newsletter. I'm only going based on what I was able to read. It sounds like it could be opinion based, but it also sounds like he might have talked to somebody that thinks this is going to happen. I hope it doesn't, because that's going to be bad. PC gamers don't listen. Let me just say this. If they want to F around and find out, the PC crowd is the one not to do it to, because they will put you on the pay no mind list. I'm sorry. That's just what's going to happen, but we'll see. Pioneer in the chat drops a very generous $2 super chat. Says the value of Game Pass is still there for me. And brother, you're not wrong for that. You are not wrong. It's there for me as well, but that doesn't make it right. And what happens is when you allow for a $4 trillion company to do something unchecked, they think they can continue to do it. You must push back. You must let them know that this is not acceptable. And that, again, I will say it. I would say it to Satya Nadala's face. Brother, I know you're making a lot of money and you got to run a company. I am never paying you $30 for Game Pass. I don't care how valuable you think it is. I am telling you, I will make sure that I'm paying $20 or less. I want to get on the Hargeet train and pay $12 a month and be paid up to $20, $30. That's the train I want to ride. Pause. Hargeet Johnny in the chat drops a very generous $5 super chat. Hargeet goes on to say, flip side on this 50% increase in day one Game Pass, Ubisoft Classics, Fortnite Crew, and paying for cloud. PC Game Pass doesn't get cloud, but gets Ubi. I mean, do you really? I mean, that's the thing. Like, I have to agree with Hargeet. I mean, folks, I did a poll the other day where it was like, I think 18% of the people actually use cloud. It's so minuscule. How many people? Like I said, my nephew Tyler comes over. He comes into the living room. The Series X is right there. I have all my consoles. He goes and he grabs this controller, which is the one for cloud gaming. And I'm like, Tyler, why? The console's right there. Now I want to play. I want to play on a TV. And he goes and he plays it on the TV. Now it works great, but I mean that's his generation. He's 16 years old. That's what they do. I'm the old man in the room. Like, give me with my cane. Give me the console, you whippersnapper. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, listen, it's fine. Black Helmet Man in the chat, who's been a channel member. Holy matrimony, ladies and gentlemen. 49 months. That is very generous of you, brother. We super appreciate that. He says all they did was add a $10 Fortnite sub and charge us full price for it, whether we want it or not. Dumb. I mean, I think I'm gonna. I have a thought and theory for a customizable one that they should have done. I'm gonna forward that to Monday's show because I think that there could have been a fourth tier where they could have allowed you as the gamer to pick what you wanted, and then the price would have been adjusted as such. Like, I would not have paid $12.99 for Fortnite Crew. I don't give a shit. I would not pay for Ubisoft Classics because I already pay for Ubisoft Plus. I don't need it, right? Those are two things. For cloud, you can take it, turn it sideways, and you know where you can stick it. That's fine by me. I don't want cloud. Take those out. Get rid of those. Oh, look at that. It's $20 a month. Good. Let's go. That's they could have done that, but things can change. Lord Roughness drops a very generous £5 super chat and says, all right, Boom, just like in life, when folk just pile on so much negativity towards you, you start to ignore. Xbox are now doing the same. Yeah, I mean, I just think that they're freaking tone deaf, man. I mean, this is what corpos do, bro. I mean, it's gross. And I think what really stings here, and I think I might have even said it when it happened, is you had Sarah Bond get questioned by a journalist asking about the profitability of Game Pass, and she literally said, yeah, we invest $1 billion, we made $5 billion. It's profitable for us. It's profitable for the developers. So again, I'm not a mathematician, ladies and gentlemen, but when you say that you've made a $4 billion profit, and then you 2 days later you raise the price by 50%. Man, that's really bad. That's bad optics, man. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't realize the time. It's almost 11:30. I got a ton of stuff to do, and you know what? I actually kind of want to play some games. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Halo story, and I'm going to forward it. There are actually two stories. One, which I didn't get a chance to talk about, was my time with Fallout 76 and the new expansion. I want to talk about that on Monday. I want to talk about Halo on Monday, and I'm working on a couple of topics that we'll get into. I don't want to be here till 12. I can't. Today's one of those days. I got so much stuff to do, and I don't want to tie everybody up. But look, let me just catch up on these last super chats. And folks, apologies for not bringing up the Halo story. I promise you on Monday, Fuzzy and I, and I'm going to try and get Chaos Theory to join us on Monday. We'll jump in and we'll go into it because I actually just have 2 additional tweets from Rebs Gaming on new information on what he got. And folks, there are a lot of studios working on this new Halo game, and it is Virtuos, the one that just did Oblivion. They're working with them, and we know how Oblivion turned out. I think Halo Combat Evolved remake is going to be special, and it's going to have Sprint. F you, who says otherwise. Sorry, folks, I had to say it. I like Sprint. He's a super soldier. He can run. That's it. End of story. Real quick, we have Pioneer dropping an additional, very generous $5 super chat. He says, when I heard the $10 increase from what I'm getting with Game Pass, I didn't once consider canceling my subscription. And you're not wrong for that, brother. You're just not wrong for that. I think that if you think it's valuable, that is absolutely okay. I'm putting myself on the stand, right? I play a lot of games on Xbox Game Pass. I spend a lot of money on games that are not on Xbox Game Pass, like Aliens, the new Aliens game. It's not in Game Pass. I bought it, right? There are a bunch of other games, like another Zombie Survivor game. I bought it, right? That's not in Game Pass. I buy a lot of games. I probably want to say I buy at least 5 to 10 games per month on top of Game Pass, right? Because I like gaming. It's my only vice. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do the titty bar thing. That's just not my bag. So I spend my money on games. It's what I enjoy. But even with that said, there are a lot of games I don't play, but I still think it's worth it. Even though I think it's worth it, though, I don't like how it was done. It was done like we don't care about you. That's not a good feeling, man. And that is what we cannot. Again, if they did it on October 1st in 2025, and I already went over 2026 with you, those are just the 6 games minus the promised 69 to 70 others. What if they say, well, we've given you too much value, $40? Are you going to be okay with 40? What if they say, well, we're going to go up of 150%. We're going to make it $49.99 a month because we can. That's why you got to at least, you don't have to cancel it. But you can let them know. And you know something, people that are going to cancel it are canceling it not to be spiteful because they ultimately can't afford it. And you can't condemn these people. They have to do the big boy decisions. They can't afford it. They can't afford it. It doesn't make them terrible humans. Some people are going to be spiteful and do it. Some people are going to say they're going to cancel it, and they don't even have Game Pass because they're a-holes. But that's not everybody. J-Mac in the chat drops a very generous $5 super chat. He says, me personally, I'm a grazer, so I play multiple games on Game Pass. I can't afford not to have Game Pass. I play too many games, and I'm poor AF. Hashtag great beards, brother. Well, listen, maybe, you know what? Maybe instead of giving out cash, and we'll see what happens. Maybe if I can get like super deals, like 3-month blocks, maybe for the holiday, show that we're going to do, we'll give away, 3-month block cards. We'll have more information as I get closer. If I can, do it as a business, and I can reach out to one of the PR people from Loaded, or formerly CD Keys, and I can get stacks of them. Maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe we'll give out Xbox Game Pass for the holidays. Gamer Geek 1974, brother. I mean, you're as old as I am. If that's your date of birth. Great to see you here, brother. He says this after dropping a very generous $2 super chat. Honestly, say my Xbox fandom took a hit this week. Yeah, I mean, I'm like, even like Kay Asante, who's always positive. Like on prime time, I literally asked him live on the air, brother, you look dejected. And he's like, yeah, I kind of feel that way. It's disappointing. It's disappointing when your favorite team, actor, platform, or otherwise does something stupid, and you're like, man, how did you not see that this was just a bad PR move? Yeah, that's fandom, man. Thanks so much for the generosity. Gamer by Choice drops a very generous $5 super chat. And he says, I wonder if this was Microsoft assuming the economy was going to have people cancel anyways, so they will charge the people that can afford it more. Capitalism. Oh, dude, dude, I hope that's not. It's a thought for sure. I don't know if they were hoping that most people wouldn't cancel and that they would retreat down to the lower tier because they don't need day and date, but I don't think so. I mean, just again, if you just look at the AI answer that I did when I opened up the show with, right? There have been surveys and reporting done where if you announce a 20% hike, you could lose up to 50% of your subscriber count. Now, again, I don't know. They didn't specifically say that this was a test bed for Netflix or for Paramount or something, but this is what was responded. So obviously, it has backup information. But when you say you're going up 50%, yikes! I mean, you're really skating on razor's edge, in my opinion. We have a couple of gifted subs here. One from Pioneer. Brother, that's very kind of you. Plus, you did super chats. And our good friend all the way from Hawaii. Aloha to you and the family, brother. Nino Vestek has gifted, as he's done many, many times before, one Double Barrel Gaming membership. We also have Brett Bingham in the chat, dropping a very generous $5 super chat. And he says, I have too many games in my backlog. I'll use premium if needed instead of trying to play day one. Any day one games I usually buy outright anyway. Yeah, I mean, listen, if you can afford to buy the games, maybe, and you only buy a couple of games a year, maybe just buying the games is the way to go. Quan the Terrible drops a very generous $10 super chat. He says, this $10 just barred me from being rich. Love you, Boom. Barred him from being rich. Yeah, that $10 always gets us, brother. Thank you so much for the generosity and, of course, the joke. Pioneer drops an additional, very generous $5 super chat. He says, Sarabon gave us 12-month strategy just because games didn't meet their deadline. We hate her for that now. We're asking for it back. I mean, it's an interesting theory. I think what I'm holding their feet to the fire for is the backwards compatibility catalog from Activision. That's what I'm personally waiting for. And they promised that we would get it, and it's been at best drips and drabs. Like the entire Call of Duty library should be in Game Pass right now. There's no excuses for it. The only excuse is, hey, if we put Call of Duty Black Ops 2, maybe someone doesn't buy 7. Okay, so what? They're paying for a service, put the games in the service, and stop BSing. Pioneer drops a very generous additional $2 for chances. Bring back the college. Is that what it is? Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, we will definitely see. Thank you for the generosity. We have 2 additional $5 super chats from Brett Bingham. First one, he says, I would have preferred LinkedIn premium subscription with Game Pass Ultimate over Fortnite benefits. Not sorry. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, the Fortnite thing, folks, I have actually seen people like, well, Boom, if they have kids, folks, no one is subscribing to Game Pass for the Fortnite pass. No one is spending 30 to get 12. They're just not doing it. You're not going to entice people. No one cares. If they're paying $12 for their kids, they're going to pay $12 for their kids. And I'm sure it's more than $12. It's probably $120 because they're buying all these damn skins.
One quick thing.
Yeah, sure.
I wonder if the people get a discount for those that do have the kids that have already done those subscriptions. Because I've seen a few people that have already had that, and they're like, well, do I get my money back now?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I again, I don't see the value, but that's just me. His additional $5 super chat says Microsoft is trying to be lazy and target two completely different types of consumers with ultimate idiots. Yeah, 1,000%. And while we got a couple more here, we have Look at Me, the Broke Boy drops an additional very generous $5 super chat. And Will goes on to say maybe Microsoft/Xbox is trying to get quick influx of cash by having people do exactly what they are through Amazon, Walmart, and other stores, stacking subs. I mean, they probably forecasted a run on $20 or less cards. That's the business, man. I mean, I paid, again, before the increase on CD keys, I paid $54.94 for 3 months. You know what I was paying last year for 3 months? $31 is what I was paying. That was the standard fare, and that's when I would stack the high hell. I'd buy a year, like boom, let's go. LeBurn 98 drops a very generous $10 super chat. Says at $20, it was only 3 games to break even. As someone who buys games, Battlefield, Sonic Racing, I bought them both. I didn't need to scrutinize my Game Pass usage. At 5 games per year, I'm going to consider whether it's worth it. I mean, that's a great point of view. If you're asking someone to buy more, if a service has you spending more than the amount of what costs 5 games at full boat, $76.43, maybe it's not worth it for you if you only buy 2 games a year and you don't have FOMO. Great point. Lastly, we have Hargeet China. He's been a channel member for 30 months. So Hargeet, thank you so much for that, brother. He says, for those thinking of canceling, I just want to point out on the console, you still need Game Pass for online access in case you want to play online games. And it's a great point of view. But look, ladies and gentlemen, I again, apologies for removing at the last minute the Halo story. Again, I have a stacked day. My house, you can't see. It looks nice, right? It looks all great. If I were to turn the camera over here and be like, what the F? Because I'm cleaning. I'm like I said, literally before, I think it was like 11 minutes before I went live, I said, let me get a drink of water. Let me kind of cool myself down. I was just finished the wash and I'm cleaning the bathroom. Folks, this is real life for me every day. You don't see it. And this is why I need a studio, so you can see all my toys. I have so many toys I want to show off. Not those kind of toys, Music 72. I know what you're thinking. I'm only saying Music 72 because he's going to say something like that. Like, what toys are you talking about? Actually, one guy in the chat, hold on a second. I'm trying to find
just the adult toys. Just
the adult toys. He says something about me hiding cats. I don't even have cats. I'm allergic to a pet dander gets me itchy. I used to be okay when I was a kid, not anymore. But
let's be honest. He's hiding his OnlyFans studio. That's
Jesus Christ. Okay, there you go. That's right. Only you got to pay if you want to see. If you want to play, you got to pay, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, fans
$10
only.
a month. You can either put the $10 to Microsoft or you can pay for Boom's new venture.
There you go. And they don't call me Mr. Boomstick for nothing. Oh, there you go. Merry Christmas. Harky Chani drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, also, Essential Tier may have removed the annual discount, so Essentials will cost you $100 a year. We'll see if discounts are available at some point. Yeah, bro, it's bad. But Silent Cypher, let's say your brand, brother. Obviously, you're no longer on Twitter, and good for you, man. It's a cesspool, but it's where I have most of my people that I talk to. So I'm gonna stay there and swim in the the feces. It's fine. I can't do multiple. I tried Blue Sky, and it's too much. Blue Sky is great, but it's just I don't have enough time in the day to play games. Like I haven't even played the freaking Black Ops 7 beta yet. And you know what's funny? This is my life. So Mrs. Boom goes and she watches some of her shows in the room. Okay, great. That's my time to record footage or do videos. I spent 2 hours, 15 minutes doing videos yesterday. And I only got 2 of them out. I got 4 locked and loaded, ready to go. I got to do thumbnails. So I decided, you know what? Black Ops, it sat on the screen. Hey, and it kept, you kept getting like the flash, like, like press the A button and you're good, fella. And I didn't even get a chance to play. So that's my life. But let's sell your brand, brother. Where could people tune in to the Xbox International podcast when you're there, and even when you're not, because those guys are great humans over there. And more importantly, where can people follow you on Blue Sky?
All right. Well, thank you as always for having me. Chat, it was great this morning. I see some folks wiling out about Boom's OnlyFans now. I like only Boom.
Oh my God.
Which is pretty solid. No, as far as where you can find me, obviously right now we're taking a bit of a hiatus on Xbox International. All of our guys' schedules just kind of clashed.
Okay.
And life outside of podcasting has made it difficult for us all to get together at one point. So we're not doing that at the moment, but of course Louie's still doing his morning shows every day, pretty much, except for Sundays, I think. He's off today. He's got some stuff he had to do, I think, for his dad. But you'll see him back on tomorrow, and of course Monday through Fridays as well. As far as our Espanol version, that's still going strong. So that's still going Friday evenings. So if you are Spanish speaking or bilingual or whatever, like, feel free, go check it out. Those guys are really cool. Louis jumps on there occasionally, Sour occasionally. So you'll see a bunch of folks hanging out on that one. It's always a good opportunity. You won't catch me in a lot of places for the next few days because I'm going to be kind of low key. But of course, social media, keep an eye out. Silent Cypher, if you want to play games on Xbox, Silent Cypher. And of course, this evening, I'll be on Fright Nights with Ferocious Fee, hanging out with Fuzzy and with Fee, and probably Presto, I think, talking about the new Conjuring movie. Fuzzy will mention some more about that here shortly. But yeah, it was great hanging out with you guys, and I look forward to seeing you in about 2 weeks.
Nice, brother. Well, thanks so much for joining. Super appreciate it. Lastly, Brett Brigham drops an additional very generous $10 super chat and says, here is $10 for you, Boom. Sorry, Xbox, you lose. I love it, brother. Thank you so much for that. Fuzzy Belvedere, let's sell the brand. This is your month, right? Obviously, Silent Cypher, big horror guy. You and the missus, big horror fans. And of course, they have a horror podcast that you should be tuning into, ladies and gentlemen, called Fright Night with Ferocious Fee, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on his wife's YouTube channel. Brother, sell the brand. Where can people subscribe? Come in, tune in, check out what you're going to be talking about. And of course, thanks to Silent Cypher, we know it's the new Conjuring. And you know what? James Wan has delivered once again. That guy is aces. And I hope he's one of the directors that is working closely with Kojima because, yes, I love James Wan. Sell the brand, brother. Where can people subscribe? And more importantly, tune in this evening at 6 p.m. and follow you guys on social media.
As always, love doing this as far as talking about the gaming industry and everything. Hoping I don't have an echo now. Do apologize for earlier, but hoping everybody can still enjoy gaming despite, the bumps in the road as far as pricing and whatnot. Game where you can have fun, keep at peace and, play all of your backlog because I've found that that's probably going to be the best holdover for those that walk away from Game Pass. Tackle your backlog because that'll probably keep you, busy for quite a bit. But for those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related or horror related, just follow me on social media. Do a search for Fuzzy Belvedere. Tonight's episode will be about the latest Conjuring movie. Check us out at 6 p.m. tonight. Me, Silent Cypher, Fee, and I think Presto, and maybe Sadie will be there as well. We'll see how it goes tonight, but awesome movie. We're going to try to save spoilers all the way to the end. So if you haven't seen it yet, at least check us out for at least the first hour or so. But if you've seen it, yeah, definitely hang out in the chat. we would love to have you guys hang out with us tonight. And as always, be safe out there. Have a good weekend. And, buy that Halloween candy now while it's on sale. Because they're starting to load up the stores, and the little ones that are going to be coming by for trick or treat, got to make sure that they don't start throwing eggs if you don't have candy. So pick up the candy now.
We don't get as many kids as we used to, man. I mean, I think a lot of the parents have like the parties with the kids. The friends have the go overs. We keep candy anyway. We have candy here all the time. I listen. I like 100 grand. It's one of my favorites. I love it. But real quick, I it's shame on me. I've opened the door for this slander. Dave Reezy in the chat. A $2 super chat, and he says, "No wonder your slogan is here comes the boom." Oh my goodness! Thank you for that. I'm all red in the face. Appreciate that very much, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, thank you so much for tuning in. We've seen some record numbers, and this week has been big for us. We have in the 2 videos of the, and again, I would hate to believe it's just because it was negative that we got, some incredible numbers, but we're sitting on the 2, shows, the 2 live shows from Wednesday. It's already capped 12K in views, which is insane. And some of the other ones that I put out, they're tracking, which is good. I hope it's not negativity. Again, I try to come at this from as positive as I could possibly be. But I gotta push back, folks, and I don't do it just for myself, because, like I said, if I was a selfish prick, I'd be like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. I'm paid up for the next 36 months. That's not the point, man. Yes, it's valuable. Yes, I play 50 games a year, but I always like to put myself in a position for I didn't always have money. Listen, I lived paycheck to paycheck. I had to sell controllers and things when we needed money. Those are some dark times for me. I think everyone's have done that one time or another, and it sucks. And if you're in that, doesn't make you a bad person, doesn't make you a terrible human. It makes you a human. Life sucks sometimes, and right now everything is so expensive. So I feel for the people, and that's why Mrs. Boom and I try to give back as much as we can, and we literally give as much as we get. We honestly do, and we try to do that every year. And this year, even though it's a little less, we're still giving. We're still going to do the giveaways. We're still going to try and do some stuff. And we do a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we will never talk about because it's private. We like doing those sort of things because we love helping humans. And that's just who we are. But thank you so much, everyone, for all of the super chats. Today was outrageous. Thank you so much for the generosity. A big thank you. We had 1,100 people watching live across X, YouTube, and our one Twitch viewer. Hello, Twitch viewer. Thanks so much for being here. We super appreciate you. And that's a lot for a channel this size. We're tiny. We're still a small channel, but enjoy gaming on whatever console you enjoy gaming. And of course, be safe out there. The world is crazy. Have fun. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.